what is this girl doing? Like, I've got this girl on me, and like, she has no idea what she's doing. Like, I'm just trying to do my thing. So if you're feeling bad about your life, just remember that I almost flashed the postman. Hello everybody, and welcome back to my podcast, Esme's Country Life. Before we begin, I just want to say a huge thank you to the sponsor of the podcast, Red Post. Red Post is an equestrian and country store based in the UK, but they also ship all over the world. Also, if you listen to the previous one, you'll know that last weekend I actually went to Red Post, did a meet and greet, met so many of you guys who were all so lovely. I had so much fun. The team, we always have so many laughs. Like the first day, I think in the morning, we pretty much just spent the whole morning filming loads of content for socials, and we did one video which was the packing challenge, and I did that with the boss Ben, and oh my goodness, there was one bit where we were kind of like doing a race for the packing challenge because they have this new thing called Stride, which is really cool. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but basically the best way I would describe it is it's a little bit like Amazon Prime, but for equestrians. So if you want to buy something from Red Post and you want next day delivery, you want great deals, all that kind of thing, then check out Stride. But anyway, for the packing challenge, it was so funny because there was this one bit where we ran down the warehouse, each of us kind of like down different alleyways, and then we both grabbed the same box of Fairfax and Favour boots and were just kind of like pulling it either side. And the face Ben the boss made was so funny. We were saying it was a little bit like in The Shining when the guy goes, "Here's Johnny." So we were just, we were like cry laughing when we were watching back the footage because he had such a determined face on him. To be fair, and things like that, I get very competitive as well. So we were both going for it. And then anyway, you'll have to check out the full video on the Red Post socials. But oh my gosh, we were just having a proper laugh. And then I had my meet and greet and met all of you. And again, that was so nice, so lovely. There was one person that got me flowers as well, and that was like the sweetest thing ever. Like so many of you like send me, like bring letters and things, and it's just always so sweet. And then talking about sweet things, the Red Post Cafe is incredible. Like they were making sure that I got my sugar fix. They gave me, I think I had like a banana milkshake, a strawberry milkshake, a white hot chocolate. This was over 2 days, by the way, not all in one day. And then I had some cookies and some cake. Like it was great. I was definitely well fueled while I was doing all my meet and greets and things. But yeah, that was a lovely weekend. And if you want to check out Red Post, be sure to head to redpostequestrian.co.uk. So that little sponsored section was more a little bit of a story time as well. But anyway, I thought I would tell you about what I've been up to lately. Starting off, something that I feel like some of you who are eagle-eyed might have noticed is that I am actually wearing earrings, and I've got kind of like a funny story behind, me and earrings and that kind of thing. So back when I was in primary school, I remember like just so badly wanting earrings. Like all of my friends had them. My parents would always say, you're not allowed to have your ears pierced until you're 12 or until you go to secondary school, because that was the age that my mum got her ears pierced. And my mum was telling me the story, and I feel like this would definitely not be allowed nowadays with like health and safety and all that kind of thing, because she said when she was 12, mum always said you can get your ears done when you're 12. So on her 12th birthday, at the school that she went to, all the kids could like go out at lunchtime and just go into town. So she went into town on her 12th birthday at lunchtime, got her ears pierced in her school uniform, and then easy, done. I feel like nowadays you'd have to get like your parents' permission if you're like under a certain age and get it all signed off and that kind of thing. But I feel like I couldn't imagine that nowadays. Anyway, so I ended up getting my ears pierced at the age of 8 because all of the girls in my year group had their ears done, and so did the one boy in my year group as well, although I think he only had one earring, I can't remember. But anyway, everyone in my year group had their ears pierced, and I managed to persuade my mum, just like, okay, because you're the only one that hasn't, had their... I feel like some people have their ears done when they're really young, like they're like 3 or like a toddler or something. But anyway, I can remember having it done. I think I had them done at Claire's, which I don't know is the best place, but I feel like when you're a kid, you can't, I don't know, do you like tattoo parlours and ear piercing like places? Let like a kid go in? Anyway, I don't know. Let me know. So I remember like holding like a little teddy bear and getting to hug it, and them just like doing the little needle thing. Sorry, I won't talk about needles too much. I know some people have really phobias about them, give them the heebie-jeebies. But anyway, and then I carried on wearing earrings until actually, it's kind of ironic. It was until I was probably about 12, if I'm honest. So because at that age, when I started secondary school, I did so many like sports clubs. Like I was on the netball team, hockey team, and I was doing like netball and hockey after school. And then I obviously did all the riding as well. And for pony club, I'm pretty sure you had to take your earrings out. At my primary school for PE, they just didn't care. They're like, as long as it's studs and as long as you only got one set in, go ahead, wear your earrings. But the secondary school, it was a bit more strict. You weren't allowed to wear any jewellery, which I can understand. Like, you know, you don't want, that's the one thing that's always kind of scared me a little bit with wearing earrings, is that what if it got caught on something and just ripped my earlobe in half? Like, that would not be good. But anyway, so I ended up slowly stopping wearing them, because I think what would happen is I'd like take them out for PE or games, and then I'd just like forget to put them back in, and then I'd lose them. And then, and then also I went through a phase where I just found them really uncomfortable to sleep in. They would always just like dig into me. So I went through a phase of just like not wearing earrings. And then it kind of got to the stage where a year had passed, and then a couple of years had passed. And then I was like, I am too scared to put my earrings back in because I feel like my holes might have closed up. So anyway, I ended up not having earrings in until recently, actually. And you might be thinking, oh, Esme, did you get your ears re-pierced? Well, I was thinking of doing that. And then I thought, because I live in the countryside, you guys know, Esme's country life, I thought I'm going to have to go half an hour into town. But, well, this sounds like so much effort. I'm just a busy person. I was like, I'm going to have to go half an hour into town. Like, before that, I'm going to have to book an appointment, and it's going to have to, like, schedule it all in. And then I'm going to have to go somewhere and psych myself up to having, like, I don't know, needles in my ears. And then some, like, random person's going to do that. And then I was like, I just don't know if I don't know. I just sounded like a lot of effort. So I thought, you know what? I'll give it a try. I ordered some earrings online. Don't worry, I made sure it was nice and sterile. I've got these like sterile, you know, like the sort of wipes that you get in like a first aid kit. I got some of those, cleaned my ears, cleaned the earrings. And then, before that, I thought, you know what? If there's like some gunk in there, I'll see if I can pop it out like a spot. Sorry, I feel like half the people listening to this are going to be like, oh my gosh, I love popping spots. It's the most satisfying thing. And then I feel like the other half of people that are going to be listening to this are going to be like, oh my gosh, Esme, you are disgusting. Popping spots is not satisfying. It is disgusting. Anyway, I don't really mind either way. I feel like I understand how it can be gross, but also I can understand how it can be satisfying. I'm kind of in the middle. But anyway, so I ended up like a bit of gunk popped out my ear. Sorry if you're eating or anything while listening to this podcast. I'll move swiftly on. My right ear, I don't know why I went for that one first. You think I'd go left to right, but anyway, I did my right one first. That one went in straight away. It just went boop. But my left ear, I had to like push it a little bit harder, and it did bleed like a tiny weeny bit, but it was fine. I managed to get them in. I was like, that's just saved me like a bit of money, like a bit of time as well, going all the way into town. I was like, results. So I've been good at cleaning them, because obviously the one like bled. I was like, do not want to get an infection. Made sure I got earrings that are like sterling silver on the outside or whatever, because I knew that I was fine with that before. I didn't want to have allergic reaction or anything like that. So all good. I've got earrings in now. I'll probably wear them for a little bit, be like, oh, this is really fun, and then I'll probably get to a stage where I'm like, you know what, I just can't, I'm too lazy to keep taking them in, taking them out at night. They're annoying me. Actually, I have slept in them for a few nights and I've been completely fine, and then there have been a few nights where I'm like, no, I can't get comfy. You know those nights where you just can't get comfy? Maybe it's because it's been really quite hot again lately, so you know when you just can't get a comfy spot because it's just so warm, and then it's just, it's a lot. But anyway, sorry, I feel like I went on such a tangent about my earrings, such like a interesting thing, but there we go. I've now got my ears re-pierced by myself. So also I was like, there are some people online that are so brave and they do it themselves and they buy those kits online, but I feel like that's too dodgy for me. Oh no, I was like, if the earring doesn't go in, I'll just book an appointment and have it done by a professional. But because I already had holes there, I didn't have to worry about them like being wonky. That was another thing that I was a little bit concerned about. But yeah, Anyway, on to the next sort of thing, like topic that I'm going to be talking about, because you guys always love a story where I embarrass myself, and I feel like every week when I come around here, I always have some sort of embarrassing story or some sort of thing that has just gone not quite right. So a lot of you might know Dee, who I never know what to describe Dee as, because she's like my riding instructor, because basically we have like a 4-hour session together, I think. It probably takes about that long, yeah. So she comes at like 9 a.m. in the morning, and this is about around like every month, every 2 months. It really depends on both of our schedules, because she's based in the Cotswolds, and she's at the she is the dynamic performance hub. So she does a lot of stuff with professional riders and fitness and that kind of thing. But anyway, she gives me a riding lesson on Joey. Then she does Joey's physio. Then she gives me a personal training session to kind of build up my muscles to make me stronger so I don't get as much back pain because I'm not hurting my back, kind of thing. And then I get a physio session as well, and I had not seen Dee for quite a while. I think it's the longest we've not seen each other, and she came back, and I'd had like the whole of August I'd just been doing like meet and greets and things, which I feel like make my back the worst, especially as often I'm hopping up and down from a seat and leaning over and signing and that kind of thing. And at the end of meet and greets, I feel like that's the one thing, is my back and my jaw, they're not good. Like it's yeah. Anyway, so Dee was like, "Girl, your back." Because I was like, my back's been hurting quite a bit. Can we do like because sometimes she does the physio session for me before the personal training session. And she was like, yeah, it's fine. And then she was like, girl, your back is so bad that I think for this 2 hours, I'm just going to do your back. Like, you can do all the exercises at home. I'll give you the exercises, but go, I need to do your back. So it was really lovely that I got to have a back massage and physio and that thing from her, because it had been so long, and oh my gosh, did I need it. So I don't know I don't know, there must be something wrong with me, but I've always had like a not so good back, and I'm only 22. It's not like I'm an old grandma. Like I'm still in my prime of my life, you know. Anyway, so this is where it's getting to the interesting part. I mean, being half naked, having a massage in your house, you know, that's you can kind of guess what might be going wrong here. So normally we do it downstairs, and we have this is at my parents' house, and they have quite like an open plan kitchen, diner, office, living room kind of bit. Like a lot of downstairs is just one room basically. But anyway, so in between where the back door is, because we're the sort of household where we have a back door and just use the back door, like we never use the front door. I guess it's not really a back door, it's more of a side door. Anyway, because that goes through to the mudroom, and often, especially in the winter, you kind of just have to de-mud yourself before you get into the house, because my parents very coolly built the house, so we were like, okay, we need to have a good old mudroom. Anyway, so the back door or the side door has a window in it, so you can kind of see if someone's like presses the doorbell, give it a little nose through, be like, oh, who is it? Is it the postman? Is it my neighbour? Is it my grandma? So anyway, and then normally we have the door that goes to the back door and the mudroom door closed, so you can't see through. And we have all the blinds down and that kind of thing while I'm having my massage. And I feel like it probably looked really weird, because it's not like I was on my back. It was when Dee was actually doing my jaw. So I kind of like shuffle up on this kind of bed back to her. And my head just rests kind of in her lap while she does my jaw. And it probably looks really weird. And I had my little toes sticking out facing the mudroom. And then I had, or the utility room, and then I had don't worry, it was okay. I wasn't wearing a bra, but I did have a towel. Oh, sorry, hit the microphone then. I did have a towel over me, so I was decent, but I still, you know, you feel a little bit exposed. Anyway, because the mudroom door was open, it meant that when my postman came to the door, looked through the window, and gave a little knock on the door, what did he see? Straight down the corridor was me lying on the bed, toes out, head in Dee's lap while she was massaging my jaw. It must have looked like the weirdest thing ever. And like, it's not like you're like, oh, it's just the postman. Like, I know this postman well. Like, this postman, me and him, I see him most days because he's dropping off. It's like, if it's either fan mail or if it's like parcels or PR or that kind of thing. Like, also because when I order stuff online, I always order it to my parents' house because there's always someone in, never my house. So anyway, this post, he knows who I am. He knows that I do YouTube, because when I started getting like your guys' letters through to me, we had to kind of explain like why I was getting all these letters and what it was for. I mean, I still do have my PO box, but I don't do mail time with Mickey anymore. But I still read all the letters that come through. But anyway, so he had like this handful of letters, and Dee went and reenacted it for me because it was so funny. We were both just like cry laughing. And anyway, so apparently he looked through the window, knocked on the door like all happy smiley. Suddenly his face went to like shock, and he went, oh. And then the way that he hid his face or hid his eyes, he put the post in front of his face to like hide his eyes. So he was like, I'm not looking. And then like slipped around to the side out of the window's view. And it was just like the most funny, dramatic thing. And oh gosh, I don't know what he would have seen with me there with my toes out and everything, but it probably looked rather strange. So yeah, there we go. Almost flashed the postman this week. So yeah, there we go. That has been an embarrassing one for you guys. So if you're feeling bad about your life, just remember that I almost flashed the postman. Also, I think because I was talking about the mudroom or the utility room so much, it reminded me of my old house. I was going to say my old house is technically my parents', but the old house before that we lived in, I feel like, I don't know, I feel like if any dads are listening to this, you'll very much approve of this dad joke. And I would always forget, like, we don't really have friends round that often. If I did, it would be friends that like come around all the time or like it was normal. But if you had ever had new friends come round and they used the downstairs toilet, this would be the first thing they would always point out. So it was quite a long time ago that this kind of started or happened. I don't know if people do this in other countries, but in the UK there's like a scheme called like Bikeability, I'm pretty sure, and basically it teaches children to ride bikes at school. So like an afternoon at school, like a day at school, everyone brings their bikes, or they have bikes if you don't have your own bike, and basically get taught like road safety and how to ride a bike and how to ride on the road and do hand signals and check for cars and that kind of thing. So anyway, after, I think it was when my brother did his Bikeability at school, he got all these stickers, and one of the stickers, you're probably thinking, Esme, you have really like jumped from two topics here. You've gone from the downstairs toilet to Bikeability. Don't worry, it's coming. So my dad, I can see him smiling in the corner. He knows what's coming. Anyway, so Max got all these stickers, and there were ones like, I love cycling, or I love doing wheelies, and there was one, oh no, there was one, and it said, I heart Skidmarks, and you can probably see where this is going now. So my dad, when he saw these stickers, thought, you know what's going to be a good idea? Let's put the I heart Skidmark sticker on the downstairs guest toilet for everyone to see. Now, the thing is, this I Heart Skidmark sticker, it stayed there. It could not come off. It was ingrained into the toilet. Probably wasn't, when you think about it, actually not very sanitary, having a sticker on a toilet. But anyway, it was there, and it was not coming off. So this sticker was on our toilet for many years. So you can imagine me like starting secondary school and having new friends round to play, and then them seeing this I Heart Skidmarks toilet and being like, this girl is from a weird family, like, anyway. And I think it did have a picture of a bike on, actually. I feel like it would have been worse if there wasn't a picture of a bike on the sticker. So anyway, it just made me think of that. I feel like embarrassing stories always having to happen in the downstairs toilet or the downstairs mudroom. Don't worry, our mudroom, like the toilet isn't actually like so the postman can see you on the toilet. There is like a separate room in the mudroom. But yeah, and I think that sticker remained on that toilet when we had people come round to view the house as well. So obviously didn't put the people that live there now off, but there we go. They've probably managed to somehow take it off now. Maybe a bit of nail varnish remover would do the trick. But yeah, I heart Skidmarks. There we go. What else have I been up to lately? Let's go on to maybe a topic that's a little bit less embarrassing. I feel like I've really exposed myself and my family today. I've done a new equestrian discipline this week called working equitation, which I guess it's difficult to explain what it is. So basically, this is coming from someone that's done this once, by the way. I am no working equitation expert. So if you do working equitation and I explain all this wrong, I apologise. But this is pretty much what I know. So it's, I think it's from Portugal, that's where it originates. And quite often they use Lusitano horses. So I rode this beautiful Lusitano horse called Historico that I've ridden once before in a Challenge Esme video where I did a lot of dressage with him and did some like Grand Prix movements, which was very cool. It's a little bit like, you know, being able to drive like a normal hatchback and then getting into a Formula One car and being like, oh my gosh, there are so many buttons and things and the horse is more sensitive and that kind of thing. It does like blow your mind a little bit, but I had really good fun doing that, especially as a show jumper. I was like, oh, I'm riding a double bridle, I got like double the reins and everything. But anyway, so back to working equitation. Sorry, I got a little bit off topic there. So yeah, it originates in Portugal, and it's often for horses that are like working horses. I think that's kind of how it originated. So basically, like cattle horses, you know, you have like dogs for sheep, like sheep dogs. Basically, they have cow horses. I don't think they're actually called cow horses, but I think we should start calling them cow horses. I think that sounds really fun. So yeah, you would. That's how they like round up the cattle on the horses. And a lot of I describe it kind of like as dressage with a purpose. So often when you do a dressage test, you do all these fancy movements and all these different things. But with working equitation, you kind of have to do the same movements, but there's an obstacle involved, which I feel like makes, like, don't get me wrong, I do love dressage, but I feel like it just makes it a little bit more exciting, especially if you're a non-equestrian watching. You're like, oh wow, they've got to go over the bridge, or they've got to, you know, do the gate, and like I'll explain all the different ones that was in the obstacle course. I don't think they're called obstacles, but I don't know if you're supposed to call it an obstacle course. I feel like it's probably got some more special name. Also, I did a little day in the life video on my socials, and so many people from America was like, it's not called working equitation, it's called trail, or it's called this, or it's called that. But anyway, yeah, this is the Portugal one, or originates from Portugal, called working equitation. I'm pretty sure trail maybe, like, I don't know much about this. I should probably done my research before this, but I feel like trail is like the cowboy version, like in America version of it. Like, I don't know if they would have the exact same activities. Maybe I should look this up. But a lot of people were like, I feel like this is a thing. If I say something that's British or say something that's like, I used to get this all the time with head collar. Like in the UK, I feel like most people call it a head collar. And then I had so many Americans or so many people from Canada or just like different countries, even Australia, probably being like, oh my gosh, why are you making horse videos? You can't even call it a halter correctly and that kind of thing, like all this stuff, just because I called something different. So there we go. But yeah, a lot of people were like, it's called trail, and I was like, I've not heard of that before, but I looked it up and it did look quite cool. But sorry, I've really gone a little yeah, sorry. I've just, you know, my brain with my podcast, I go on and on and on, and then I just get to a point where I'm like, what have I even been talking about? Anyway, sorry, back to the program, back to the scheduled program. But yeah, so working equitation, I'll tell you some of the exercises we did. So yeah, there's a bridge that you have to go over. That was probably the easiest one, but you have to make sure you do it and walk, and you can't like accidentally trot. Then there was also another easy one that's often at the end. I think it's often at the end. It was at the end for the little obstacle course that I did. It was like a little jug, and you had to like pick it up and lift it up in the air and show that your horse would stand when you lifted up the jug. There was, what else was there? Gate. The gate was probably one of my favourites because it's probably the most useful one. I mean, I go through a lot of gates when I go hacking and things. Casper, 10 out of 10, great at gates. Joey, often when I go out with Joey, I have someone with me and they often do the gates for me. So I haven't really done the gates too much with Joey. Also, I'm going to try and do working equitation with my boys at some time, and I feel like they would really enjoy that. I feel like Joey also, he's one of those horses where he's got such a busy brain. He always likes to kind of, I don't know, just be occupied. Like I always feel like I have to do lots of transitions. If not, he just falls asleep a little bit. He's like, girl, this is a little bit boring. Like, you need to keep this interesting. You need to keep this funky and fresh. So yeah, the gate was fun. I really like that. So you have to like open the gate, and a lot of it is very like performative. I didn't really realise that until like you have to like look very elegant and make sure that your horse stands when you ask, and then like demonstrate you like lifting the rope off the gate to unlock it, and then making sure it's all very controlled and looks very pretty. There's also, I think there's one where it's kind of like how well you do all the things and how good it is and that kind of stuff. And then there's one on speed as well, and I feel like the speed one would probably stress me out a little bit. Like I would just end up like, I'd be going through the gate and I'd like bash my knee on the side and I'd just like do everything. Like I feel like if I do anything rushed, I always do such a bad job at it. I think everyone in my family knows that when it came to me painting my cottage, when I did it a little bit too fast, it ended up not looking too good. So we had to do another coat over the top to make it look good. But anyway, there's that. What else did we do? Oh, the most difficult one was a raised pole, and you had to leg yield across it without knocking the pole over. And the horse that I was on, he kept wanting to go backwards. I was like, no. As we go across, go forwards a little bit, because his back legs kept like knocking it. I managed to get there in the end though, and this horse was amazing. It was probably like, what is this girl doing? Like, I've got this girl on me, and like she has no idea what she's doing. Like, I'm just trying to do my thing. But no, Historico was absolutely lovely. What else was there? There was one where you had to like walk in, ring a bell, and then walk backwards out of the like little box. I feel like Joey would be quite good at that one. He's quite good at doing rein back. Another little movement there, so you can kind of see, like I've said, like leg yielding. If you don't know, actually I should probably explain what leg yielding is if you don't know what it is, if you're not horsey. But basically it's when a horse goes sideways, a little bit like a crab. That's what I always think. But this is like, sometimes you can go forward and sideways, but this was like just fully sideways. I'm trying to think of what other ones. Oh, there was a bull, not a real bull, don't worry. It was a kind of like, I was going to say cardboard cutout. It was made of wood, but you know what I mean. It was a wooden flat bull, and what you had to do was you had to like kind of ride towards it. You had to pick up I don't know if it's called a sabre. You had to pick up this long stick, and then on the bull there was a ring, and you had to pick up the ring, and then you had to put it in a barrel. And apparently the reason why they use a bull is because apparently some horses can like look at it and be like, that looks a bit weird. And the whole thing about working equitation is having a horse that trusts you and will like go forward. Like if something's like a little bit scary and that kind of thing, like they trust you and they kind of like are like, yeah, let's do this kind of thing. That was a really bad way of explaining it, but you know what I mean. So that was there just to look a bit interesting, I guess. There was one where there's like a pen, and you have to go around like in a circle in this like really tight space. I feel like Joey will probably end up like in that one. Can sometimes be a little bit uncoordinated, so I feel like he would probably, I don't know if he'd get stuck or if it just, I mean, it's not that tight and he's not that big of a horse, but I feel like he might just end up, our circle might not be very circle shaped. It might be a little bit square shaped. It would be like a little ping ball machine. We'll be like, bing, 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 bing. Oh, sorry, Mikey. Sorry, Mike. You stay there. There we go. Got a bit excited there when I was doing my little pinball machine demonstration for you all. I mean, if you're an audio listener, that probably would have sounded a bit weird. But if you're a visual listener and you're watching the video that I do, apologies again for giving the mic some abuse. Anyway, what else was there working equitation? I feel like they were the main ones that I really enjoyed. I'm trying to think how they were situated in the arena. Oh, there was these barrels, and I feel like that was the one that I thought, oh, this is going to be easy. So there were two barrels. You had to kind of like do a circle around one in trot, a circle around the other in trot, and then you had to pick up canter, and then you had to like, and then you had to walk like in between the barrels and then pick up canter, and then you had to like walk in between the barrels again and then pick up canter on the other rein. And oh my gosh, like you had to go do quite a tight turn, and on a horse that I wasn't used to with double reins as well. I was like, blimey, there was one bit where we almost crashed. I was like, I almost crash landed into one of the other obstacles, and I was like saying to Georgie, who was teaching me, I promise I can ride, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm just struggling with this one a little bit. Like, it was so weird. It looked like the easiest one, honestly. If you just said, oh yeah, all these ones you have to go like over poles, that kind of thing, ring bells, that kind of thing, you're like, oh, that sounds like a lot. And then you're like, oh yeah, just two barrels, just do some circles around them in different gates. You're like, oh yeah, easy peasy. Oh no. And then the thing is, you had to, also, I was riding a horse I'd only ridden for the second time ever, so I feel like that probably made it a bit more difficult as well. But yeah, got there in the end. It was all right, managed to do it, but it probably wasn't as smooth or as pretty as it could have been. So it'll be interesting to see what I'm like with Joey on that one. But anyway, I'm really excited. Hopefully I can get Joey back there sometime soon to give it a go on him. I've almost finished editing that video as well, because after I did the little day in the life on my socials, everyone was like, oh my gosh, when's it going to be out? And I'm like, I'm currently editing it. It does take a while sometimes. I just need to do like a little voiceover on it, and then it should be bam, bam, ready to go. So you never know, might be out. Actually, no, it won't be out when this podcast is out. I'm filming this on a Saturday and it's going out Saturday evening. I feel like recently I've actually been really bad at, I say bad, I always get them out in time, but I feel like, I don't know why, I've just ended up always filming or recording my podcasts on the day that they should go out, but there we go. Anyway, I've had fun. I've talked to you about some very interesting and strange topics today. I think that is the most things that I have on my little mental list of what I want to talk about. I feel like it's been kind of like a quieter week this week. It's been nice, actually. I've had like a nice week of just, I was going to say having a rest, because I feel like I haven't done that for a little while. I feel like, what's it called? Oh God, my brain's not even working. Can't even remember what the months are. August. I feel like August for me has been the most busy, hectic month. I just haven't been at home much, so it feels, I've just had a week of like doing all the little bit admin-y bits and things at home, but also having a little bit of a rest and doing some bits around the cottage. Oh yeah, I remembered what I was going to talk about. I did some gardening with my grandparents, and that was such a wholesome day. Very lovely. Do you pick potatoes? Dug up some potatoes, there we go, that's probably better, and I learnt the hard way not to make sure that you really go under, because I stabbed a really big one. I was so sad. I was like, no, that was probably the best potato. I got stabbed with my pitchfork. There were some that I learnt that I probably should have buried a little bit deeper, because they'd come up a little bit early and they were green, and the green ones are poisonous, so don't eat green potatoes. Little fun fact there for you. But no, I actually got a good old load. Probably could have dug them up a little bit earlier, because the slugs and things and the worms, I don't know, the creatures were starting to get a bit hungry. So a few of them, RIP, became snail lunch. But most of them were all good. So that is great. Sad thing about the garden, I think all my raspberry plants have been diseased, so that is very sad. RIP my raspberry plants. We're going to give them one last go. But in good news, I've got a wisteria plant on my house, and for a while I was in mourning. I was so sad. All the pictures and the for sale sign on the for sale kind of like booklet that I have of the house, the wisteria was beautiful and in flower and all that kind of stuff. And the one at the front of the house, or the back of the house, the one where the door is, I only have one door. I don't have a front door. I only have a back door, but that is my only door. So there we go. But anyway, above the door there was this beautiful wisteria, and it died. But there is a new little wisteria plant growing up, and it is going around the carcass. I don't know if you can call it a carcass. They're like old twiggery bit of the dead one, and it's grown over the top of it. So fingers crossed. I mean, it looks like it's going to be a winner. It can grow back up there, and then hopefully one day flower again, and I will have a beautiful wisteria house. I mean, I've got like the side of the house has got wisteria on, but it's just not the same as having it over your front door, I feel like. So that has been some good news in the garden. Little cottage update for you all. And I will finally, hopefully, next week, do another cottage renovation series video. So many of you have asked me at my meet and greets, especially like I feel like a lot of mothers and daughters watch my videos together, which is really lovely. And I feel like I had a lot of mothers and daughters be like, we love watching your cottage renovation videos together, like please do some more. And don't worry, I've got some more things that I need to do. Actually, yesterday I was doing some measuring, because there's a few bits and pieces of like furniture and kind of storage that I need to add to upstairs. But yeah, so far it's doing well. It's getting there. So hopefully I'll film another episode soon. But anyway, I think that's probably enough of me embarrassing myself, rambling along, and I don't know, just getting distracted in today's podcast. Felt like it's been a little bit all over the place, but there we go. Anyway, I just want to say a huge thank you to listening to today's episode, and also a huge thank you to Red Post for sponsoring the podcast, if you want to check them out. But anyway, I hope you all have had a lovely week, and I'll see you next time. Bye!